I've spent the majority of my life on the internet, but I've benefited from it far more than I've gained.
This personality characteristic is one that I suspect many can relate to.
It's also something that's bled into other areas of my life outside the internet.
Well, being a lurker has its perks. After enough introspection and reflection, I've come to realize that the internet can't exist with only people just like me. Even still, it also couldn't exist without lurkers too. It's a complicated subject, so let's talk about it more.
You should start your own business.
What business should I be in?
I don't know, what do you like?
I don't know.
You're an actress. You should be an actress.
So I've been watching YouTube for my entire life. I've said it a million times before, but I absolutely adore this site. Now, although I do make YouTube videos and have been doing so on and off at least for a very long time, compared to many, especially YouTubers I watch, my production of content is limited in volume, and I go long stretches of time without uploading anything. Maybe it will change in the future, but as of today, I define myself as an internet lurker.
Not the first snow of the season, but it's one of the first, and it looks cool on the videos. I hate being cold when I'm inside and I'll cuddle up, especially when my feet get cold while I'm sleeping. But I like being in cold weather and then dressing up in layers and stuff. Feels good.
Now, I call myself a lurker because compared to the content creators I watch online, I consume far more content than I produce. When I imagine lurking, a good way to picture the process of doing it in actuality would be like surfing the internet, but in a way that causes you to enter into a flow state where everything around you falls away and only you and the content you are consuming exists. And during periods like this of lurking on this site, I liken it to the following sort of physical or visual metaphor. Let's start by imagining that I'm watching YouTube and I start watching a YouTube session on a point in a void, a blank void of nothingness. And it starts off with a video, and as time progresses, I move through the void. And as I go from video to video, comment to comment, channel to channel, a massive 3D structure that creates a timeline of my watch history is created per session. Maybe you can think of each like a video as a sort of block that you can step on that floats in this void, and each block is connected to another block by a string, and that maybe, let's say, a channel or a live stream is something that wraps around you like a building that you can see and live in because it's happening in real time, and that each channel has its own tint and color, so that when you get to the end of your YouTube session and you look back towards it, you can see in the distance every channel that you've watched. And I put it in this metaphor because when you enter into a flow state in YouTube, it consumes you. You go inside of it. At least that's what it feels like to me. Now, of course, it's just an analogy, and it's really only a purely imaginative picture. So to give you some examples, I don't just watch commentary. I do watch commentary primarily. I also like to watch gaming videos on occasion. I like to watch stuff on travel. I like to watch like random vloggers and these random really small YouTubers who make videos. I really like music and EDM, and each genre starts as a sort of branch and then it starts to network. Altogether, with this much depth and variety and access to content and the volume that YouTube offers, every single session's structure in my head is vastly different and unique and special in its own way. Now, it is this vivid to me for two reasons, and that would be time and emotion. I've spent the majority of life being aware of this website's existence, and I've spent thousands of hours of my life watching content on it. It's like looking at a scene or a picture or a painting over and over, and every single time you do, you see it or remember it more vividly. And most importantly, you have to, in my opinion, or really in my experience, for you to perceive it this way, you have to be a lurker, because interacting with it breaks this illusion that this offers. It's hard for me to put my finger on why that happens, but that's how it feels to me. And all the while, I tend to feel like a leech as a lurker. And because YouTube is free to use, it only requires its viewers to watch products for ads they'll probably never willingly buy. There's not much really consciously or actively put into a system relative to how much I get out of it. It's really a funky dilemma. If everyone was a lurker, there would be no one or very few people to make content to be lurked. I also think that being an online lurker as a content consumer is a unique identity to hold that comes with its own benefits. It's a calming and comforting place to be. To lurk and lose time on YouTube is, in a way, has become for me a way to forget that I'm even living inside of a body, a physical body at all. And I think in some way engaging with the community at times or participating inside of it could break this illusion. Because ultimately, as a producer, it is the inverse, where you are building structures consciously instead of exploring them as if they were already there. It's about being a participant instead of just passively watching. But all the while, I love the culture I found online, and I produce content because I want to, and it's a passion of mine. And that is completely invaluable. And I realize this more and more as I get older and older. Wow. I hope you can't hear the car in the background. I'm gonna go on a bit of a drive today. Up a canyon near where I live. Check things out. I need to do this every once in a while. I don't get out of my apartment enough, so. Okay, so now let's talk about Twitter, now known as X because Elon took over it. So Twitter, now known as X, is an incredibly toxic place. Now some might call it a playground, while others view it as a wasteland. Either way, if you really want to be deeply engaged in most YouTubers and their communities, you really, at least for the time being, you need to be on Twitter. Now growing up, I was the only person in my friend group that really used Twitter, and I was viewed as strange for even having the app downloaded on my phone. Now what is strange is that in the 9 or 10 years I've been using Twitter, I've probably tweeted on all the accounts I've ever had less than 25 times. If there's any platform I've lurked on the most, it is without any doubt this one. Lurking on Twitter is like watching a chaos from afar and being entertained by its calamity and extremity. Now, what I think would be really good, instead of just, I like to write things out, but I'm just gonna go on Twitter right now on my phone, and just look at the tweets that I'm seeing. I don't have internet access because I'm in a canyon. However, I'm just gonna look at what's already been on here. So the first thing I start seeing, okay, RFK Jr. eating McDonald's with Trump, which is concerning in my opinion. A joke about Kim Jong-un executing 12 men for playing League of Legends, and then the guy says tough but fair. So it's edgy, but it's not like dark. My opinion on edgy humor is that what is at the bottom of something edgy, it is something good. That is conveyed with force through something that appears to be awful on the surface. But then you start seeing some really awful stuff when you keep scrolling on Twitter. It gets really toxic on this platform. If you keep going, there's a tweet about supposedly leaked footage of a UFO, which is bullshit. There is people beating each other up. I've seen some graphic stuff. I've seen racist stuff, openly racist stuff, violent stuff, homophobia. Elon's vision is he views himself as a free speech absolutist. I think he's a nutcase who makes really good cars. But what I think about Twitter, what is really happening here is it is like Twitter is a tweet deck. You don't need TweetDeck to experience Twitter. The experience of using Twitter is like having a bunch of monitors surrounding you with TweetDeck on it. That's what it feels like now anyways, because Twitter is a sensory bombardment of toxicity and hate. It just overwhelms you and it floods you in it. But at many points during my time on YouTube, if you wanted to really be in the commentary space, you had to be on Twitter, because that's where the drama happening outside of the YouTube videos was taking place. You can view it as if the YouTube videos are in a line on top across a timeline, and beneath it, what's connecting them are the tweets. That's what happens outside of the YouTube videos, and that's where that content goes forward. In my opinion, it's second to YouTube. But all said and done, I can acknowledge that I'll likely never be free from the black hole that is X. Every time I try to uninstall the app, I find myself reinstalling it just moments later. Now, even if the platform enables and emboldens horrible people and ideas, it also gives scaffolding that supports many of the online communities that I frequent. For that, I'm thankful for its positive qualities only. It's getting cold. It's 34 degrees outside. I went way up this canyon. Now look, it's 34 degrees outside. Where is it? There we go. 34 degrees outside. It's freezing cold. It's freezing cold. It's freezing cold outside. I'm shivering, but I got the heat on in my car, so it probably sounds like there's wind blowing through my car, so it kind of is, so yeah. I always like to think I have something clever to say in between these moments, but I don't know. Maybe silence is okay. Alright, well, it's later on in the day, almost midnight now. I gotta do some homework and stuff like that, but I'm glad I got to make this video. I'm slammed with work, but I'm getting some more free time, so hopefully gonna make some new stuff soon. I just hope that, well, think about what being a lurker means. It means that you don't really have much output on what you on the internet while you use it. So it's hard to find people who are like me in that sense, because we don't say anything on the internet. I hope that in making this video, I'm able to reach out to people who act and think and behave in similar ways.
So how'd you become such a hotshot actor?
I'm a showman. It's my calling.
Ugh.
I don't know how to do anything else. It's what I'm meant to do. I mean, ever since I was a kid, I've been a song and dance man.
Come on. Ever since you were a kid.